Hello, students, and welcome to the English class of Standard 10. Today, we are starting with a new lesson named The Luncheon. In this video, we are going to do the first half of the lesson. This lesson is written by William Somerset Maugham and presented by Sara Pereira. This lesson, The Luncheon, is an incident in the life of the writer that he's trying to share. The writer William Somerset Maugham was born in 1874 and died in 1965. He was a distinguished British playwright, novelist, and short story writer. He was among the most popular writers of his era and reputedly the highest paid author during the 1930s. Both his parents died before he was 10, and the orphan boy was raised by a paternal uncle who was emotionally cold. He did not want to become a lawyer like other men in his family, so he trained and qualified as a physician. His first novel, Liza of Lambeth, sold out so rapidly that Maugham gave up medicine to become a full time writer. He served in the First World War and also before the October Revolution of 1917. During and after the war, he traveled in India, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific. He drew from those experiences in his later short stories and novels. The most delightfully humorous narrative, The Luncheon, is a slice of life story about Maugham's luncheon date proposed to him by a woman whom he hopes is a supporter of his art. His work is characterized by a clear, unadorned style, cosmopolitan settings, and a shrewd understanding of human nature. Unadorned style is something that is not adorned with unnecessary words or unnecessary description. It is clear to understand. And cosmopolitan is something that is based on real life, something that can be very relatable. A person can connect to it, and a very clear understanding of his writing we can have. So let us read the lesson and let us try to understand what he's trying to say. First passage, page number 151, from I caught sight of her till thought of going there. Let us read. I caught sight of her at the play, and in answer to her call, I went over during the interval and sat down beside her. It was long since I had last seen her, and if someone had not mentioned her name, I hardly think I would have recognized her. She addressed me brightly. Well, it's many years since we met. How time flies. We're none of us getting any younger. Do you remember the first time I saw you? You asked me to luncheon. Did I remember? It was 20 years ago, and I was living in Paris. I had a tiny apartment, and I was earning barely enough money. She had read a book of mine and had written to me about it. I answered, thanking her, and presently I received from her another letter saying she was passing through Paris and would like to have a chat with me. But her time was limited, and the only free moment she had was on the following Thursday. And would I give her a little luncheon at Foyot's afterwards? Foyot's is a restaurant, and it was so far beyond my means that I had never even thought of going there. In this passage, the writer recalls the time when he met the guest that he's going to talk about in this lesson. So basically, they met at a play. The writer was, maybe it was his own play because he was a playwright, and he met her there and he went to talk to her during the interval, and they both started talking to each other, trying to recognize where they had met before, and maybe the incident that or the first meet was such that the writer could never forget, and so he recognized her very easily. And she asked him whether um, he remembers her name and all, and he remembers where they met first. And then the writer is asking to himself that, did I remember? And of course he did. It was 20 years ago in Paris, when the writer, he was living in a very tiny apartment, and he was hardly earning anything. But then he was a writer at a very young age, as I mentioned in the summary, that at the age of 10 he had written a book, and which was very famous, and from there he drew inspiration of writing more. So he was not earning much, but he was writing, and this guest of him, who was a lady, she had read his book, she was impressed by his writing, and she had written back to him. Okay, and maybe she had appreciated his writing, and he was very happy that somebody admires and somebody appreciates your work. So he was very happy to read the letter that she had sent, and she had also requested him that they could meet one day for and they would have a short luncheon. Now luncheon is nothing but lunch, okay, so no different meaning. And then the writer also, he thought that okay, it will be very rude if he also does not offer her for a lunch, and then he decides to take her for a luncheon at Foyot's. Now Foyot's was a restaurant which was a little expensive, and the writer would have never thought of going there on his own if it was not a lunch with a lady, because he did not earn much. And then by calculating all the expenses and by calculating the money that he had with him, he would have never gone there. But then now it was decided that they would meet there on the following Thursday, and that was fixed. Let us see what happens next. Second extract, page number 151. I had 80 francs, till page 152, if they have any salmon. Let's read. I had 80 francs, gold francs, to last me the rest of the month, and a modest luncheon should not cost more than 15. If I cut out coffee for the next 2 weeks, I could manage well enough. I answered that I would meet my friend at Foyot's on Thursday at 12:30. She was, in appearance, imposing rather than attractive, and she gave me the impression of having more teeth, white and large, and even than were necessary for any practical purpose. She was talkative, but since she seemed to want to talk about me, I was prepared to be an attentive listener. I was startled when the menu was brought. From the prices, for the prices were a great deal higher than I had thought. But she reassured me. I never eat anything for luncheon, she said. Oh, don't say that, I answered generously. I never eat more than one thing. I think people eat for too much nowadays. A little fish, perhaps. I wonder if they have any salmon. In this passage, we see that the writer has brought the guest for a lunch at Foyot's, a very famous restaurant and a very expensive one. And he knew how much money he had. He had 80 francs, gold francs, and that was all that he had. And he had also counted how much he would have for the rest of the month, and he had to cut out coffee for the next 2 weeks only because he had to attend this lunch. And then the menu was brought in front of them, and when he looked at the menu card, he was even more startled or surprised, shocked, because the prices were higher than what he thought. And that was something that brought even more nervousness to him. But then he was reassured by his guest. Now, his guest, she said that she does not eat much. She said that she eats only one thing, or only one dish for a lunch. And she said that she would like to enjoy fish if there is salmon. Salmon is a kind of fish for all those who don't know. And this somehow gave some kind of assurance to the writer that okay, maybe if they order one dish, then the bill would not go high, and maybe he will be able to manage. So it was settled and the lunch began. Third passage, page number 152. From, well, it was early in the year, till took me quite seriously to task. Let us read. Well, it was early in the year for salmon, and it was not on the menu, but I asked the waiter if there was any. Yes, a beautiful salmon had just come in. It was the first they had. I ordered it for my guest. The waiter asked her if she would have something while it was being cooked. No, she answered. I never eat more than one thing, unless you had a little caviar. I never mind caviar. I knew I could not afford caviar, but I could not very well tell her that. For myself, I chose the cheapest dish on the menu, and that was a mutton chop. I think you are unwise to eat meat, she said. I don't believe in overloading my stomach. She ate the caviar and she ate the salmon. She talked gaily of art and literature and music, but I wondered what the bill would come to. When my mutton chop arrived, she took me quite seriously to task. The lunch began and the salmon was ordered. But this was not the season for salmon, and so the writer did not expect the hotel or the restaurant to have salmon. But then the waiter said that the salmon had just arrived, and you can imagine that if an unseasonal fish or unseasonal fruit you have to eat, it is more expensive than it is actually supposed to be. And the salmon was also going to cost more because that was not the season for it. And then she ordered salmon and she said that she does not want to eat anything more because she eats only one dish. And then again, when the waiter said that, would you like to have something else while we are cooking the salmon? She said, okay, if there is caviar, I can have some. Now, students, you can look in the image that a caviar is fish eggs, okay, of specific fish only, or of few species. It's very famous in foreign countries. It's very expensive also, and some people they eat it with different forms. Okay, they add different delicacies to it, and they eat it. So she said that she would like to eat caviar if there is any. Again, it was an expensive dish ordered by her, and whenever she was ordering an expensive dish, the writer was just thinking about the expenses that would cost. And for him, he ordered a mutton chop, which was the cheapest dish on the menu card. But when he ordered it, the guest said that it is not good to eat heavy stuff. Meat is quite heavy, fish is very light to eat, and she tried to summon him, and he was thinking that maybe he's eating lesser than what she's eating, but still he had to listen to her because most of the time she was also gaily. Now, gaily is nothing but merrily. She was talking about his writing, about literature, about art. So that was the reason why they were there. And he was expecting, the writer was expecting that that meeting of theirs would be something that was for his writing, about his book that he has written. And she wanted to talk, he thought that she wanted to talk more about his book and and she wanted to appreciate him, she wanted to praise him. And so for that purpose he was ready and he was willing to attend this luncheon. This luncheon was going little expensive than what he thought that it would be, but he was ready to listen to it, and he was ready to continue with the luncheon only because she was talking about art and literature, and in between something about his writing. The remaining part of the lesson is even more interesting and a little humorous, but that we shall do in the second module of this video. Now let us have a quick evaluation of the three passages that we dealt with in this video. Evaluation. Question number 1. Put the following events into correct order. A. I had never even thought of going there. B. I wonder if they have any salmon. C. I ordered it for my guest. D. She talked gaily of art and literature and music. Students, you will have to read the passage up till page number 52 to understand which event occurred first. You need to arrange them in proper sequence and your answer will be ready. Question number 2. Answer the following questions. A. What is the profession of narrator? Where it is described in the glossary and it was also in the beginning of the lesson, it was explained that the narrator is a writer by profession. He's a full-time writer and probably the most paid English writer of his time. Second question, when was the lady free? The answer to this question you can find in the first passage, in the first paragraph itself. She said that she was free on Thursday, and it was only the time when she would spare to meet him. Third question, where and when did they decide to have lunch? This answer is again in the first extract, the second paragraph. It was decided that they would meet on Thursday at a very famous restaurant, that is Foyot's. Question number 3. I never eat anything for luncheon. Explain the irony in this line. Irony is something that has a different meaning than what it is actually trying to say. Okay, a second meaning or a hidden meaning. Okay, that is there. Now for this line also, when the guest was constantly saying that I never eat anything for luncheon, it was contradicting to her actions because she actually have already ordered two dishes in this module that we've learned. Maybe in the second module she may ask for more dishes. We will get to see in the next module. So she is her statement is contradicting her actions, so what she's saying does not match with what she's doing. That is an example of irony. Okay, when in real life also we see people saying something else and doing something opposite, that is irony. So when you need to explain this answer, you're going to explain, or you can also mention the sentences in the extract which show that her actions and her words are not matching. Okay, that will be your explanation for this answer. Question number 4. Fill in the blank a word or phrases given in the brackets in their appropriate forms. When it is said appropriate form, you need to understand the tense of the sentence and accordingly you need to make changes in the phrases or words given in the bracket. Let us do it together. First one. I never dash my stomach, she said. The answer will be I never overload my stomach, she said. Second, I was dash when the menu was brought. Yes, the answer will be I was startled when the menu was brought. Third, the author dash the guest at the play. The answer will be the author caught sight of the guest at the play. Fourth, I had seen asparagus in the shops. My mouth often dash at the sight of them. The answer is I had seen asparagus in the shops. My mouth often watered at the sight of them. Fifth one, the author's guest was dash through Paris. And the answer is the author's guest was passing through Paris. Question number 5. Classify the following words in the given table appropriately. Now there are 4 columns of noun, verb, adjective and adverb. And there are few words given in the bracket. We know that noun is something that talks about a place. Noun is a person, place, thing, etc. Verb is an action word. Adjective is something or a word that gives you more information about the noun, or it is a descriptive word of a noun. An adverb describes a verb. So you need to read all the words and you need to fill them in the columns given below. For example, first one, modest. Modest is a quality, so it will come under adjective. Second is luncheon. Luncheon is a noun. Third, generously. Generously is telling us something about how the action is done. So it is giving us more information about the action, that the action was done generously. So it is an adverb. Similarly, the remaining words you have to do it on your own. Read those words, try to understand their function, and you will understand whether it is a noun, verb, adjective, or adverb. The remaining part will be continued in the next module. I hope you like the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.